Hello and welcome to another episode of London Music Centre. I'm Elliot Mann. In today's episode we're going to talk about 3 reasons why you should never subscribe your child to any extracurricular music lessons in your school. Let's get started. Okay, it sounds like I'm going to underestimate schools and their fantastic contribution. So just to let you know, I'm not going to do that. We have the utmost respect for every school trying to enrich the children's lives, especially the ones that not always have the financial means to do it privately. That's all very good. But let's focus on why you should think about it 20 times before you say yes to your school. Reason number 1, schools choose music teachers based on many factors, none of which have to do with your child's benefits. Very often, and we've been working with schools for the last 17 years in London, England, and I can tell you from experience that the things we hear about the teachers, they don't show up on time, lunch breaks in the middle of a lesson, literally the teacher eats and the child there is doing something, toilet breaks, no homework is being written for the child, or the homework is not unclear, the child doesn't really know what's happening, the child forgot to bring the book, they forgot to leave their class to come there on time. So many different reasons. I'm saying 3 reasons, but it could be 10 reasons because of everything I just said. But the most important kind of the generic reason is the school doesn't necessarily think of your child's benefit. They just need to say to the parents, we offer that in the school. If you ever send your child to the music lessons in the school, after school, or within the hours of the classes, you have a faint or very clear idea of what I'm talking about. So reason number 1, you wouldn't have chosen specifically that teacher if you had the choice. And so why would you send your child to have lessons just because the school said, yes, it's in the school? The fact that it's in the school has nothing to do with the quality. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is the fact that you don't have direct communication with the teacher. So even good teachers get eroded because nobody really follows up. They have a bit more room for maneuverability. And as all of us sometimes feel, if nobody's watching, if nobody's kind of paying too much attention, we can slack off just a little bit. Guess what? The child is the only one who suffers as a result. So don't just take it for granted. If you have lessons in school, the first thing you need to do is immediately ask for the teacher's contact details, email and phone number, and be in touch. Doesn't have to be weekly, but at least monthly. What has my child managed to achieve? The teacher is going to not like you very much, but he or she will know this parent requires some information. I should make sure the child gets a good enough attention from me. So that's a very good tip. But generally speaking, there is no direct communication between the teacher and the parent, and that can lead to catastrophe, because very often we get parents coming in and say, you know what, my child hasn't achieved anything yet, and it's already 2 years, not even grade 1. Grade 1 is the ABRSM. It's very famous in England and a few other countries, but essentially any kind of grade exams and any progress is very limited and held back as a result, something you really want to consider. And reason number 3 is the commitment that the school is asking you in order to take part in it. Now, you probably don't know it, or you didn't think it through, or maybe I'm wrong, but with many schools, especially in London, we see when you subscribe your child to any such activity, the school want to ensure that they can cover the teacher and cover all the costs. So they tell you, well, you have to commit, and if you need to cancel or terminate lessons, give us a term's notice. 1 term's notice. It sounds all right. I mean, 3 months. No. What they actually mean is you give us the notice, you wait until this term is over, and then you give us a term's notice. So if you started the term and the teacher is useless, you're basically waiting 2 terms, which is 2/3 of the year, waiting for the child to be redeemed from that awful teacher and awful setup. And very often, it is not a good idea to have 2 teachers. You think, you know what, they'll continue the lessons in the school and then I'll have a private teacher at home. It's not going to work. First of all, musicians and teachers tend to be quite zealous about their art and about their dedication. They don't want to find every week that the other person gave them contradicting practice advice and information. So very often, not too confident teachers, they would say, me or nothing. So if you don't choose me, I'm quitting. And that's not really kind. So bear that in mind. If the child is there, the only way to stop it is to keep on paying and to remove the child from the lessons. Now, why would you keep on saying, you know what, let's wait for 2 terms and then we'll start the private lessons? I would say no. The main reason is these two terms can make all the difference in the child's appreciation for music. This is the impressionable experience for a child. If the child doesn't get that kind of enthusiasm and commitment and seriousness and really involvement from the teacher, that kind of electricity, they wouldn't come after 2 terms. And then you, dear mom, dear dad, you're going to say, you know what, my child is not musical. The number of times we heard it. So if the teacher is not good enough, run for the hills. Don't leave the child there. It's worth any cost. But that's number 3. Number 4, because we felt 3 reasons is too low. Number 4 is the fact that you don't know or how much of the classes your child missing. As a result, very often the music lessons in schools, and I don't know about other subjects, but at least on the music, I can tell you from experience, most schools will offer the lessons with the classes within the school hours. So basically, the child will have to be escorted or called from the class, losing that important information to go for the music lessons. Now imagine you have maths, physics, whatever else, and your brain is there. Now your brain is here playing music. It takes a moment to reset and retune and warm up mentally, physically. The time is wasted. But we'll get to the time because that's number 5. On number 4, I'm still talking about the fact that your child will miss the current class that they're doing. What's the point? So you get one thing and you lose another. Then they need to catch up on that. Even if the classes are right after school, the child is hungry, they're tired. How much information do you think is going to, come through? But they have a moment to relax, to have a snack, to wash their face, just to take a breath, and then have the lesson. It still makes a difference. Although you can have lessons on the weekend. You can have lessons in the mornings before you go to school, 7 a.m. You think it's too early? Not for the child. They're already jumping up and down. Some children, you can enjoy that time when the mind is fresh and have that music lesson then. And there is nothing else distracting them. That's amazing. And if you have a digital piano, like we talked about in previous videos, you can just play with the volume. Nobody's been affected by as a result. So that's something really important to think about. And number 5, and that for me is the biggest issue. Okay, everything is big, but this is one of the biggest issues. Most of these classes, in order to fit as many children, you have 2 options in schools. We always insist, never have lessons with multiple students. You have 1 student at a time, so at least the teacher can give that child 100% attention. If you have 2 children, even twins, the problem is one will always be more advanced than another, and the other one will be slower than the other. So one will always be held back, and another one will always be pushed forward. None of them will make real progress, and none of them will enjoy it. Guys, I'm going to start repeating this word again and again. Enjoyment and commitment and progress in lessons is everything. If you don't have the word enjoyment, I say to parents, if the child is not jumping up and down after the lesson, it's not the right teacher. It has to be this way. So just bear that in mind. You don't have to be a professor of music to know whether the teacher is good or not. After the trial session, look at your child's eyes. Are they shiny? Are they sparkly? Is he or she jumping up and down afterwards and ask for immediately another lesson? That's a good teacher. If you're an adult student, if you felt like the hour session went too quickly, that's a good teacher. If it was too slow, too boring, not a good teacher. It has to be as simple as that. You do not have a PhD to figure these things out. All right, so the 5th reason was either they sharing the class with more children, the attention dissipates and evaporated. From half an hour class of 3 children, you expect to have 5 minutes of a lesson. What do you think you can get with that? Why do you think after 2 or 3 years you can't even do grade 1? That's the reason. So, and number 6 and number 7 and number 8 and all these reasons, I can keep on going, but you see where I'm heading. Let's wrap it at 5 reasons. We were talking about the fact that the schools don't think of the benefit of the child, but their own credit. Reason that the teacher is not really engaged with you as a parent. You don't know what's happening in the lesson. The homework aren't clear enough. Everything is a bit of a vague. The 3rd reason was the fact that you are committed. So if you want to terminate lessons, the school will hold you to a terms notice, which in practice is actually 2 terms. Most importantly, the child is going to suffer as a result of a wrong teacher sitting with them. We've all been children. Do you remember that time that you felt like, my God, I hate music? You didn't hate music. You hated the teacher because he, she, they were useless. They were thinking about their own issues. They weren't committed. I started having lessons since I was 7. I had 2 teachers which were absolutely mind-blowing. The rest were just average or hands down awful. How do you expect to have any passion for music if the teacher is awful? And nobody comes to the parents and says, hello, parent, I'm an awful teacher, nice to meet you. That's not going to happen. You need to know these things. That's why agencies usually help, because we know that our teachers, we know who to recommend to what age, what level. Number 4 is the fact that the child is leaving the class, the current class, to be in the music class. So they're missing on other materials and they're going to need to catch up with. It's all too much. And the number 5 reason is the fact that the classes are so short, 20 minutes to half an hour, best case scenario. So, guys, these were the 5 reasons, and you can see the branches of so many different consequences why you don't want a child to take lessons in a school. Invest more money into having lessons at home, where you can see what's happening in the lessons, you can make sure the homework is nice and clear. Also sit down in the lesson and listen to what's happening, so you could take active part. The teacher knows you're there, they will be more serious, I promise you. And more importantly, you could help your child practicing even a little bit. If you have a nanny, make sure the nanny is there, whatever is going on. Just make sure you're on top of these things, because it will pay you dividends, I assure you of that. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because this information is life-changing to every parent on earth. So don't keep it to yourself, pass it along. If you have any other questions, if you want me to record certain videos of specific subjects, I will do it immediately. Our most important kind of mission in here is to educate parents, assist, to help, to share, and to make sure that you make better decisions as parents as to which teachers you want to choose and what kind of musical parts you want to take. I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Take care.